There are people that want it for whatever their reasons are. It's been hard for me to recommend it. Not so much with the Gold Eagle or Gold Buffalo. The spreads are much closer to the other gold sovereign coins. This is almost exclusively silver American Eagles.
Andy Schectman explores the possibility of premiums rising again in the gold and silver markets. He talks about the constant theme of swings in the market, from overvaluation to undervaluation, and back again, and how the Silver Eagle premium may be a precursor to other premiums starting to rise.
Doing well over here, and it seems like a lot of people appreciated your fiery talk last week, where you had plenty to say about some of the fascinating dynamics in gold and silver. Always good to dig into these things, and we will start in the same place as normal. Just wanted to see if there was any update on the premiums, availability, what's going on with the products and the order flow before we dig into a few other news topics today.
Yeah, the Silver Eagles have gone up again a little bit, not a lot, maybe a precursor of what we could expect to see with premiums. It's almost like when you look at anything in finance, you see a repetitive theme, almost like a pendulum where things will swing one way to the extreme, like to overvaluation, and then back through fair value to undervaluation. And then they start to move back again the other way. And that's a constant theme that I've seen over and over again. And I see the same thing here with premiums. They've swung so far to one side in terms of, at least they were, way up on the overvalued side. They've swung back down through undervaluation. And I think we've really bottomed in premiums and maybe just starting to turn back up again when you see it turn up again in the Silver Eagle premium, which is just crazy. It just is unrelenting, has been now for 3 years, might be the precursor of other premiums starting to rise. But again, I'll tell you, it's for the last few weeks has been the very best supply at the lowest premiums I've seen in 3 years. The Silver Eagles had come down repetitively to where we have been and now just moved up 50 cents again this week. Nothing really dynamic to report on the premium front other than to say the availability is great industry-wide. One of the interesting things is you keep hearing and seeing on the wholesale level, the big bars, the COMEX style bars are in very short supply, and the drawdown on the London Metals Exchange in very short supply, yet we're in this little bit of a sweet spot where you wouldn't notice it just by looking at the retail world where premiums have come down and availability is great. I just have this sinking feeling in the back of my mind when you keep hearing about the drawdowns on the exchanges and off of the ETFs and the deliveries that we continue to see in both gold and silver moving out of the COMEX ecosystem, and then Silver Eagles starting to creep. Is this the beginning of a trend back up? I don't know, but I'll tell you that it's more or less the same as it's been for the last few weeks, with the exception of the Eagles, which are showing some strength here today.
Andy Schectman discusses the future of currency and the role that precious metals may play in it. He talks about the possibility of a central bank digital currency and how it may just be another fiat currency unless it is pegged to something like gold or silver. He also mentions the possibility of a second reset, this time by Mother Nature, and how it will be different from the first, which was man-made.
And when the first reset happens, regardless of what is implemented in terms of a new system, it will fail because it will be more of the same thing. Maybe that's a central bank digital currency that is just another fiat currency, unless, of course, it were pegged to something like gold or silver. But when the second reset comes, the first being man-made, the second by Mother Nature, he was told that government would confiscate anything that wasn't American minted. And so there have been a lot of people who, wrong or indifferent, will happily pay an added premium for American minted coins, for whatever their justification is. Now, I've publicly said for the last couple of years that, number one, being one of only 27 U.S. mint authorized resellers is a defining moment in my career. It's something I'm ultimately very proud of. And the association with the mint has done wonders for my career. Yet I've had a hard time publicly telling people to buy Silver Eagles when I can buy Krugerrands or Kangaroos or Britannias or Maple Leafs at $4, $5, $6, $7 per coin less over the last few years. And currently it's about $6 or more less per coin. And at some point you have to wonder, is it worth it? I don't know what to believe about what Jim talked about. I know he was called Mr. Gold, is very well connected, always has been, has friends in high places. But I'll tell you, that's a premium, that's a tough pill to swallow. Short of that, I can't imagine why anyone would choose an American Eagle unless you have distinct feelings that it will be central to whatever happens next or down the road. And if you don't feel that way, why, then you're throwing good money after bad by spending all of that extra premium when you can get something in terms of its content and quality, recognizability for much less. Yeah, there are people that want it for whatever their reasons are. It's been hard for me to recommend it. Not so much with the Gold Eagle or Gold Buffalo. The spreads are much closer to the other gold sovereign coins. This is almost exclusively silver American Eagles.
Andy Schectman discusses the supply and availability of pre-65 constitutional silver. He mentions how it used to be called junk silver because it was the cheapest thing to buy, but its price has increased in recent years. He raises concerns about whether the supply of pre-65 constitutional silver is running out and mentions that it would be difficult to fulfill a client's order of $50 million worth of pre-65 silver.
It's interesting, too. The second most highly priced item for the past 3 years has been pre-65 constitutional silver. Now, that's come down to a level that I am comfortable recommending. It's still higher than the sovereign coins. And I remember a time, Chris, when for the first time in my career, you could swap your junk silver pre-65 for Australian kangaroos and get more kangaroos, like a 5 or 8 or 10% more silver. And I thought it was the craziest thing I'd ever seen. This was probably a decade ago. And I told everyone, sell your junk and buy kangaroos. For the past 3 years, junk has been as high as $8, $9, $10, $11 over melt. Now it's down to 5 or less, I believe. So it's right there, but it's still priced higher than the Maple Leaf and the Philharmonic, the Britannia, the Kangaroo, which is very unusual. So if you want something that is American made, junk silver used to be called junk silver because it was always the cheapest thing to buy. Silver Eagles were always 60 or 75 cents more than the other coins, like the Maple Leaf, not $6 or $7.
I hear what you're saying, and I've not been a big Eagle buyer myself, although something you mentioned about the junk silver that I wonder about. Do we reach a point where the supply runs out, and obviously there are people who get old and pass on and perhaps leave an inheritance?
We had good fortune last year of doing 2 orders, both of them north of $50 million. And if a client came to me and said, I want $50 million worth of pre-65 silver, there's not a snowball's chance in hell I could even come close to filling it.
As we come to the end of this video, I hope you found it informative and thought-provoking. If you have any thoughts or questions about the topics discussed in this video, please leave a comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay up to date with our latest content. See you in the next one.